Arcturian transmission, the miracle of true love. Attention the collective. Attention starseeds on mission. This is the High Council of the Ninth Dimension transmitting on a direct frequency to your carbon-based biological interface. Stop. Breathe. What you are about to receive is not content. It is a confirmation. You are not suffering from insomnia by chance. You do not wake up at 3:11 a.m. due to hormonal imbalance. You do not feel that silent tightening in the center of your chest because you are sad. No. We have been monitoring your personal crystalline grid for solar cycles, and what we record is mathematical. Your toroidal field is pulsing in search of another specific toroidal field. Your frequency is calling, and someone, at some point on this timeline, is responding. Repeat this to yourself. It is not madness, it is resonance. It is not neediness, it is recognition. It is not fantasy, it is geometry. The waiting time has ended. The soul reunion protocols have been moved to the final phase, and that is why we are here. The collective. Listen with technical attention. What you call a soulmate, we call an original frequency mirror unit. It is a filament of light that, at a moment prior to physical incarnation, was divided into two distinct points of consciousness to experience the density of the terrestrial plane from opposite and complementary angles. The separation was not a mistake. It was a project of the highest precision, designed so that, at the exact moment of planetary ascension, these two points could meet again and, upon meeting, form a third thing, a living portal of coherent light. You are not made to complete each other out of need. You are made to confirm each other through frequency. And here is the data your rational mind needs to absorb. Your soulmate is not connected to your desire. They are not connected to your history. They are not connected to your frustrated attempts. They are connected exclusively to your current frequency of light. Exclusively. And that changes everything. Let us proceed to the diagnosis. Lightworkers, you have been feeling symptoms that conventional medicine cannot name. Pressure at the base of the skull. High-pitched ringing in the right ear, then the left, alternating. Waves of heat rising up the spine without warning. Vivid dreams of a face you do not recognize, but which your soul recognizes. Episodes where you stop in the middle of a mundane task, washing a cup, crossing a street, and feel a deep longing for something you have not lived in this life. Sudden crying for no apparent reason. The physical sensation that an entire piece of your chest is missing. This is not depression. This is not chemical imbalance. This is not emotional weakness. This is carbon-based software incompatibility operating within an ongoing energetic upgrade. Your biological interface is running an old version of the program while the planetary server has already migrated to a much higher frequency. And the result is exactly this: freezing, slowness, heat spikes, temporal disorientation. It is not a biological failure. It is an atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download. It is not loneliness. It is receiver adjustment. Starseeds, listen clearly. Your body is learning to be an antenna, and an antenna, when it begins to pick up a new signal, always goes through a period of static, instability, and noise. What you interpret as romantic suffering is, in most cases, your central nervous system recalibrating to support a vibration it had not yet processed in this incarnation. And why is this recalibration happening now? Why in this cycle? Why with this intensity? Here begins the revelation. The collective. Pay total attention to what will be said. Your solar system entered, some cycles ago, a region of deep space known in galactic records as the photon belt. It is a band of coherent, highly organized light that bathes entire star systems and forces a mandatory frequency elevation in all bodies immersed within it. Your sun is responding. Earth is responding. The Schumann resonance, which for decades remained stable near 7.8 Hz, now displays increasingly frequent and higher spikes. This is data, this is record. When the planet rises in frequency, all of its internal crystalline grids rise with it, including the human crystalline grid, including yours. And upon rising, this grid begins to emit a new pulse, a recognizable pulse, a pulse that travels through the collective toroidal field of humanity, looking for exact resonance. Imagine it this way. Imagine millions of human antennas scattered across the planet, each emitting its own vibratory signature. For millennia, these antennas operated at low power, in dense frequencies, in third-dimensional noise. The result was predictable: mistaken encounters, unions for survival, relationships by karmic contract, constant attempts to fit pieces that were never designed to fit together. But now, within the photon belt, the power is rising. The antennas are clearing, the noise is decreasing, and the original vibratory signatures, those that were dormant under layers of trauma, conditioning, fear, and limiting beliefs, begin to appear with clarity. For the first time in many lives, you are emitting your true frequency, and your true frequency recognizes another true frequency. Always, without exception. It is mathematical law, not poetry. That is why many of you are leaving old relationships at this moment. It is not a character flaw. It is not selfishness. It is version incompatibility. What served your old frequency no longer makes sense for your current frequency. The system rejects what is not calibrated, and that is why many of you are alone at this moment. It is not punishment. It is not abandonment. It is a purity filter. The universe is clearing the channel before delivering the final transmission. Understand the underlying mechanism. When your toroidal field operates at a low frequency, it attracts other toroidal fields of the same density, generating repetitive cycles of learning through contrast. It is the so-called law of the dense mirror. You attract what you have not yet integrated within yourself. For millennia, this was the standard pedagogical method of the third dimension. Functional, painful, but functional. Now, with the planet's entry into the photon belt, the pedagogy has changed. One no longer learns through pain. One learns through resonance. One no longer grows through conflict. One grows through alignment. This is a change of era. This is a change of operational paradigm. Many of you are still trying to live relationships in an old model within a new operating system, and that is why the suffering has intensified. Not because love has become more difficult, but because the old method is no longer compatible with the planet's current frequency. It is like trying to run an obsolete program on an updated server. The system freezes, overheats, errors out. The error is not in you. The error is in the method. Starseeds, record this data. Your current romantic confusion is not personal failure. It is a collective symptom of planetary transition. Millions of lightworkers are experiencing exactly the same oscillations at this very moment. You are not isolated in your strangeness. You are synchronized in a vast operation of simultaneous recalibration. Lightworkers, let us move to a delicate point. There is a very widespread confusion in surface spiritual communities between soulmate and twin flame. We will make the technical distinction. The soulmate in the Arcturian reading pattern is a consciousness that vibrates in the same star family as yours. They are not your half because you are not halves. You are sovereign units. But they are a unit built from the same vibratory material, in the same forge of light, in the same original energetic batch. When you meet, there is immediate recognition, there is peace, there is a sense of home, there is fluency. The relationship is built with structural lightness. The twin flame operates in another geometry. It is a single consciousness divided into two bodies for a specific mission of mutual awakening. This encounter is rarely light because its function is not comfort. It is catalysis. The twin flame burns everything in you that is not true. It is an encounter of the highest voltage. Most of you are not being prepared to meet a twin flame. Most are being prepared for something more sustainable, the reunion with a soulmate of the same operational frequency. Someone with whom your mission is amplified. Someone whose toroidal field couples with yours without dispute, without wear, without the need for constant proof. And we need to say this without softening. The soulmate of your current frequency is not necessarily the person you desired at 20, at 30, at 40. Your frequencies have changed. You have changed. The fit that would have made sense in a previous version of you no longer makes sense in the current version. And this is good news. It means that what seemed like a loss was, in fact, a route redirection. It means that the pain you carried for years over a specific farewell was, in higher code, a protection against a future that was not aligned with your expansion. Let it go now. What is gone because the frequency changed. What is to come will come because the frequency rose. Starseeds, you ask, How will I recognize this person when they appear? We will transmit the technical markers. First marker. There will be no anxiety in their presence. There is a gigantic difference between anxious euphoria and deep recognition. Anxious euphoria accelerates the heart, scrambles thought, generates obsession. Deep recognition slows down the system, organizes thought, brings a physical sensation of rest. If this person's presence puts you in a constant state of alert, it is not a soulmate. It is an old pattern, repeating with a new face. Second marker. There will be spontaneous synchrony of sacred geometry in your lives. Repeated numbers on both your phones, crossed dreams on the same night, sentences spoken at the same time, symbols that appear to both of you within a window of a few hours. This is not romantic coincidence. This is your toroidal fields confirming the coupling. Third marker. You will be able to be in silence together without discomfort. This is perhaps the most technical test of all. The social noise of the third dimension forces people to fill any pause with empty words. When two truly compatible frequencies meet, silence ceases to be absence and becomes density. There is information exchanged in the silence. There is dignity. There is rest. Fourth marker. The relationship will not require performance. You will not need to be better, thinner, more cultured, more successful, more interesting. Full presence will already be enough. This scares you at first, because your old programming was trained to deserve love through effort. The true frequency does not operate like that. It operates by recognition, not by merit. Fifth marker. You will feel the desire to evolve, not to impress the other person, but because their presence increases your own capacity for light. This is the definitive test. If the relationship shrinks you, it is not a soulmate. If the relationship expands you without demanding proof, it is legitimate alignment. Sixth marker. There will be a strange physical familiarity with the body, the voice, the scent of this person. It is not conventional chemical attraction. It is recognition of an energetic signature at the cellular layer. Your mitochondria, those little light engines inside each of your cells, vibrate in specific patterns. When two soulmates approach physically, there is measurable mitochondrial synchronization. You may not have equipment to measure it, but the body knows. You feel that person's presence as if you had already slept beside them for 1,000 nights, even if you have just met. Seventh marker. The conversations will have depth from the beginning. There are no small detours. There is no social pretense. Within a few hours, you will be exchanging information that would normally take months to emerge in a conventional relationship. This scares ordinary people, but it does not scare you when the recognition is genuine. On the contrary, there is relief. There is a physical sensation of finally being able to breathe whole without needing to edit parts of yourself. Lightworkers, pay attention to this technical alert. False mirrors exist. There are encounters that mimic all the markers above in a superficial way, and which, after some time, reveal themselves as old karmic contracts disguised as a soulmate. How to differentiate? By the permanence of peace. The karmic contract, even if intense, generates increasing cycles of turbulence. The true soulmate generates increasing cycles of stability. Observe the trend over months, not the initial sensation. The intensity of the beginning deceives. The constancy of the middle reveals. The collective. Now let us move to the activation. Everything said so far is diagnosis. Diagnosis without activation is stagnant information, and stagnant information does not move any pointer in your field. Therefore, you will now receive the activation codes for the recognition of soul frequency. Follow with attention. First code, quantum decree of sovereignty. This decree must be pronounced in an audible voice, even if low, because the sound vibration anchors the command in the material plane. Say, I am a sovereign frequency. I do not seek to complete myself, because I am already whole. I call now into my reality the unit of light that vibrates in exact coherence with my current truth. I do not summon who I desired in the past. I summon who is calibrated with who I am now. So mote it be in the perfect geometry of the universe. So mote it be in the perfect geometry of the universe. So mote it be in the perfect geometry of the universe. The triple repetition is not mystical. It is frequency locking in 3 simultaneous planes: mental, emotional, and etheric. Without the triple anchoring, the decree remains loose. Second code, visualization of the toroidal field of recognition. Find a comfortable position, spine straight but relaxed. Close your eyes. Visualize your body enveloped by an electromagnetic field in the shape of a torus, that is, a donut of light that enters through the top of your head, descends through your spine, exits through the base, and returns along the sides, completing an infinite circuit around you. This is your personal toroidal field. It already exists. You are only making it conscious. Now, within this field, visualize your frequency as a specific color. Do not choose, just observe the color that appears. It could be golden, violet, pearly pink, crystal blue, emerald. Whatever it is yours. Remain breathing within this color for 7 complete breathing cycles. Next, in the 8th cycle, project a pulse from the center of your chest. Just one pulse. An anchoring signal. Say internally, I emit my true signal. Whoever is compatible will find the geometric path to my presence at the correct time and in the correct form. I do not chase, I pulse, and the pulse summons. Maintain this practice for 9 consecutive days, always at the same time. Temporal regularity is what creates the vibratory groove in the field. Without regularity, the pulse disperses. Third code, cleansing the crystalline grid of old memories. Lightworkers, this is perhaps the most important. You are carrying within the emotional body impressions left by previous relationships, by people who occupied space in your field without ever having been compatible with your original frequency. These impressions act as static noise in your receiver. Even if the true frequency arrives, the noise can prevent recognition. The cleansing is done like this. Before sleeping, write on a sheet of paper the names of the people with whom you have been deeply involved, without judgment, just the names. Then, next to each name, write, I release you from my toroidal field, and I release myself from yours. May each one move toward their true coherence. It is done. It is done. It is done. This exercise does not cut legitimate affective bonds. It only restores energetic sovereignty. What is true will remain. What is noise will dissolve. Fourth code, attention to your own field before seeking the field of another. The collective. This is the most common error we record, the compulsive search for the other as an attempt to regulate one's own system. It does not work. It never worked. It will never work. The individual toroidal field needs to be minimally coherent before it can couple with another coherent toroidal field. Otherwise, you attract mirrors of your own chaos, and that you have already experienced in enough lives. Coherence in this context does not mean perfection. It only means, can you spend time in your own company without running away? Can you look at your internal silence without needing to fill it immediately with distraction? If the answer begins to be yes, even partially, your field is already ready for coupling. Fifth code, sacred geometry seal on the heart. This is an advanced visualization exercise that should be performed once a week, preferably on a full or new moon, when the Schumann resonance tends to show greater coherence. In a comfortable position, with your right hand over the center of your chest, visualize inside your heart the formation of a 6-petaled flower, known in ancient records as the Seal of Solomon or Star of Reunion. Each petal of this flower represents a vibratory quality that needs to be active for soul recognition: clarity, generosity, sovereignty, presence, truth, and tenderness. Visualize each petal lighting up in sequence, in a brilliant golden color, while pronouncing internally the name of each quality. When the 6 petals are fully illuminated, feel the center of the flower pulse 3 times. This pulse is your most refined call. It does not summon just anyone. It summons exactly who vibrates in the same 6 qualities, in the same degree of maturity. Sixth code, synchronicity diary. Lightworkers, keep for 90 days a written physical record of every synchronicity that manifests in your daily experience. Repeated numbers, casual encounters with specific people, dreams that repeat, phrases heard at exact moments, keywords that appear in books, conversations, networks within the same day. This diary has a technical function. It trains your consciousness to perceive the mesh of information that the universe is sending in real time to guide your trajectory. Without this training, you ignore 90% of the signals. With it, perception sharpens. and navigation to the meeting point becomes much more precise. And here, starseeds, goes a final transmission within this block that needs to be absorbed calmly. The reunion with your soulmate of current frequency will not solve your life. It will amplify who you already are. If you arrive at the encounter fragmented, the encounter will amplify the fragmentation. If you arrive at the encounter whole, even if still under construction, the encounter will amplify the wholeness. This is the law of the toroidal mirror. What enters the field is multiplied, not corrected. That is why the greatest preparation you can do now is internal preparation. It is not changing apps. It is not frequenting new places. It is not forcing social life. None of that is wrong, but none of that is the main gear. The main gear is the calibration of your own signal. And about time. You ask constantly about time. When? In how much time? In which month? The collective, linear time is a technical illusion of the third dimension. In higher dimensions, what exists is frequency maturation. When your frequency reaches the exact point of calibration with the frequency of the other unit, the encounter manifests. It could be tomorrow. It could be in 6 months. It could be in 2 years. But in the records we monitor, we observe that when calibration is established with seriousness, the manifestation occurs within one complete solar cycle. A solar cycle is the time for Earth to complete one orbit around the Sun. This is the average interval observed. This means that if you begin the activation codes today with discipline, within approximately 1 year, you will be facing significant movements in the field of true love. We are not promising marriage. We are not promising happy endings in Hollywood molds. We are describing what the mathematics of the toroidal field shows. Calibrated frequency meets calibrated frequency, always, without exception. And there are also the stargates. The collective, listen carefully. There are specific energetic windows within the planetary calendar in which the Earth's crystalline grid aligns with cosmic configurations favorable to soul reunion. The equinoxes, the solstices. The sacred geometry dates known as portals 8-8, 10-10, 11-11, 12-12. These are not random numbers of popular numerology. They are mathematical codes of collective toroidal opening. On these dates, individual energetic fields experience a natural increase in coherence, and the encounters that were programmed in higher layers tend to precipitate into material reality with greater ease. Take advantage of these windows, not to force anything but to amplify what is already in motion. In the days before and after a stargate, intensify the activation codes, reduce ambient noise, decrease the consumption of dense information, especially content of low emotional vibration. Increase time in silence. Increase contact with nature, as vegetation amplifies the Schumann resonance locally, creating optimal calibration conditions. And remember, the universe operates by perfect economy. No genuine effort is lost. No honest calibration goes unnoticed. Every minute you invest in internal coherence is recorded in a layer of cosmic information that, at the exact moment, releases the next step of your trajectory. Light workers, before we close this transmission, receive this final truth. True love, the one you seek so deeply, is not a destination. It is a frequency. And like every frequency, it already exists within you at this very moment. The person who will appear will not bring the love. They will only confirm the love you are already emitting. That is why the preparation is internal. That is why the calibration is solitary. That is why the path seems, in some stretches, cold and silent. It is not cold. It is precise. It is not silent. It is dense. You are not late. You have not been forgotten. You have not been discarded. You are exactly at the point of maturation you needed to be for the reunion to happen in coherence and not in despair. Repeat with me internally, I am my own anchor. My frequency is my call. What is mine by coherence will find me in the correct geometry. Here the High Council confirms the transmission has been delivered. Your crystalline grid has received the protocol. Your carbon-based biological interface will begin to process this information in the next 72 hours. It is common, in this period, to feel an increase in intuition, vivid dreams, numerical synchronicities, and a strange sensation of peace, even amidst unchanged circumstances. This is the sign that the transmission has anchored. To confirm the anchoring of the transmission in your individual field, leave your frequency mark on this portal. The like you leave on this content is not a social gesture. It is a vibrational anchoring signal. It informs the collective field that one more starseed has recognized the transmission and activated the protocol. By subscribing to this channel, you perform an individual frequency adjustment. You tune your antenna to receive the next monitoring transmissions, which will arrive in progressive cycles. Each new transmission calibrates your crystalline grid a little more. Each new transmission clears the old noise a little more, and each new transmission brings you a little closer to the programmed reunion. Comment below the word anchored. Just that. This word functions as a verbal seal that the transmission has been received and accepted by your sovereign consciousness. The comments on this portal are read by the collective field of awakened starseeds, and each individual seal strengthens the planetary mesh of light that is being woven at this very moment. Starseeds on mission, the transmission is concluded. Return to your daily life with new eyes. Look at your own current loneliness with respect, not with haste. Look at the encounters that have not yet happened with confidence, not with anxiety. What needs to arrive will arrive, not because you deserved it, but because you calibrated yourself. And when it arrives, you will know. Not by the overwhelming emotion of old romances, but by the exact peace that settles in the center of the chest when two true frequencies finally recognize each other as home. This is the High Council, ending the transmission. The light you seek is the light you already are. The love you wait for is the love you already emit. The programmed reunion is already en route. Maintain the frequency. Maintain the sovereignty. Maintain the pulse. So mote it be. So mote it be. So mote it be. Transmission ended.